guys, it's Scott. Thanks for watching. So I wanted to talk about what I'm going to wear on this trip. So this is a Smart Wool long sleeve, 100% merino wool base layer, and I wore this. This is an Arc'teryx soft shell. It's called a Trino jacket, and that's what I'm going to be wearing. It's going to be about -5 out there. I used to have base layers that were polyester Under Armour stuff, which at the time I thought was fantastic. The main drawback to the Under Armour type polyester base layers is I find they stink. I mean, they stink really bad. I would come back after going for a bike ride and getting ready to hop in a shower, throw my shirt on the ground, and I'd look down and my dogs were rolling around on it like it was a dead squirrel. So they stunk really bad. I mean, maybe it's just me, but after I discovered some merino wool, I started wearing that, and I find that I can go exercise a little bit, hang the stuff up. It dries out, and I'm telling you, you can ask my wife, there's no stink. It's almost a miracle how well it is. It's not perfect. She does remind me when it gets a little rank, but overall it works really good. So I'm going to be wearing this jacket and some soft shell pants with that. That'll keep me plenty warm while I'm on the trail. So when I get to camp, I'm going to ditch this. I'm going to bring my Arc'teryx hard shell. I'm going to have a down vest and probably a fleece and another wool shirt to wear around camp when I get there. We're doing a winter bike packing trip, and one of the main priorities is keeping my toes warm. I just want to quickly show you some of the shoes that I wear on my regular mountain biking. I mean, these are my summer shoes. They're much not warm. There's no insulation in these things. These are my fall shoes, which used to be my winter shoes before I got into mountain biking or fat biking in the wintertime. And now I just use some winter boots when I'm going and it's below zero for an extended period of time. And the big difference here is just regular winter boots, no special soles, as opposed to the clipless pedals that I would normally use while I'm cross-country mountain biking. So, which means that I've just switched to flat pedals on my fat bike. And when I get to camp, it's a little more flexibility, and it keeps my feet warmer when I'm walking around, instead of walking around in these, which are not the most comfortable. They're more efficient for biking, but they're not really comfortable once you're finished biking and you're off your bike. So that's why we got these. And another thing I'll probably get into while I'm on the trip, but these things weigh nothing. They're grabber toe warmers, and what you want to do is have these on you at all times, whether it be a biking trip or I use them hunting in my deer stand. You know, you're sitting still, the toes, your first thing to get cold. So I use these hunting, you can use them skiing. I mean, there's a million applications in the cold. They weigh nothing, so throw them in your pockets, throw them in your backpack, and trust me, you'll be glad you have them. To keep my hands warm, I've tried regular gloves, I've tried mittens. Best thing that works is the spot grip, or you can call them the lobster glove. And these are what I find best for biking in the wintertime. And the reason why is that with mittens, they're warmer, but when you're biking, I've crashed before because I wasn't able to get my finger on the brake and hold onto the handlebar and keep your stability at the same time. So with these, you can wrap around the handlebar and still access the brake, and it'll save you broken ribs, which was what I had just before Christmas a couple years ago. So I suggest getting these if you're going to do any bike packing in the cold weather. The other thing about the fat bike behind me, I think if you've seen some of my videos, it's a specialized Fat Boy. Tires on it are 4.6 inches wide. Tire pressure is it's personal preference. I'm 6'2", 200 pounds, and 5 PSI is probably good for the trails I'll be on this trip. Keep in mind, you can play around with that. If your pressure's too high, you're going to find that it's like a skate blade out there, and you're not going to have any traction. If it's too low, the rim is going to float in your tire. A lot of times people ask me about these fat bikes. They're fairly new, and if you're new to biking or you don't know much about them, people are always surprised how well they handle. They're not the bulky, clunky bike that they look like they are. One tip I suggest to people is, if you're going to get a fat bike, go tubeless. And this is a fat bike tube. It almost weighs 1.5 pounds with no air in it. Just the rubber tube itself is almost 1.5 pounds. So 2 tires, that's almost 3 pounds of weight that you're spinning around. Go to your local bike shop, they'll hook you up, but basically what you're gonna do is you're gonna drop the tubes, and they're going to put some sealant in your tires, and they're gonna tape up the rims, and the sealant covers all. It's like a car tire. Car tires, truck tires, there's no tubes in automobile tires, right? They just rely on the sealant around the rim. Kind of the same thing with bike tires, except that you need some sealant in there to, it spins around with the tire and just make sure if there's a pinhole, it gets filled up. And it works great for flats. If you run over a thorn, it seals itself up. So as opposed to a tube where you'd have to take it out and patch it. So there's your little tips. We're gonna load up the bike and head out on the trails. Ridge is excited to go. We're gonna do some cross-country riding through some single track, find a place to camp in a bush nearby, and set up camp and spend the night out there. So I hope you enjoy it. Stay tuned, it's a great trip. And if you haven't seen Ridge, he's one of my Vishlas, and he loves running, and you'll get a kick out of watching him follow me on the trail. So thanks for watching. Also to my new subscribers, thanks for tuning in. I owe Joe Robinette a big thanks for having me on his channel. A lot of you have come over from his channel. I think that you like the content of mine and you subscribe. So it's much appreciated. Thank you, and continue watching for some more videos. Okay, we just got to what's going to be camp for the night. This big ash tree that fell down here. I'm going to blow the snow off and use it as a bench. We have a fire here, get our tarp up here. So one of the things that is a priority right now is warming up. And I'm not cold right now. Ridge is not cold. This is my dog Ridge. You've seen Scout, but this is my other Vizsla Ridge. He's a male. And Ridgie is not a cold weather dog. When he's running around, he's okay, just like me. But I don't have a lot of clothes on, neither does he. So right now, I got some coats for him. We're gonna warm him up, and I'm gonna change, put some different clothes on. My base layer is merino wool. Underneath, this is a soft shell, which is great for biking. But once you're done biking, I sweat underneath here. I sweat sitting in the shade, so I sweat a lot. My biggest concern in cold weather is making sure that I get some dry clothes on. So that's what I'm going to do right now. Just take a break, and then we'll get back to setting up camp. Okay, so Rich has got a coat on, a little better. And I don't know if I can get him to stay in a sleep bag if it gets too cold, but he will later on tonight. So I'm going to put a fire here. I'm going to put the tarp over here. And that's going to be it. So right now, my big priority is chopping up some firewood. There's no shortage of firewood around here. It's a hardwood bush. There's down, dry limbs everywhere. So I'm going to get on that, have a fire, and then we'll eat. Setting up the tarp will be pretty quick. We'll get that on camera. We'll see how this goes. Not sure this is a good idea. I'm going to use this as a bench. Kitchen table. I'll put my padding on here and I'll be able to sit by the fire. That'll be good. That should be like a little backrest too. Look at this, Rich. Get out of here. Yeah, it's actually pretty comfortable. So, all right. Oh. All right, I need to split up some firewood. Here's your get. Okay. Making some progress. Come here, Reggie. Rich. Okay. All right. So we got the tarp up, and this is I'm using my footprint from my Papa Hubba MSR tent. It's a 4-person tent, so we're gonna use this for a ground sheet. We're gonna put our sleeping bags and stuff out right now, so and Ridge's pad, so he can curl up and stay warm. Fire going, and then there'll be some time for some dinner. Okay, so really this is all I'm carrying: this tarp, ground sheet, sleeping bags, that sort of stuff. Stuff to make a fire and dinner. This is just a 1 overnight trip. Okay, so for Ridge's sleeping bag, it comes with a pad. This is made by Roughwear. So it's got an insulated pad. This is the sleeping bag. And I also gonna double it up with another sleeping bag, a 0-degree sleeping bag on top of it. Anyways, this one here. Did I mention Vizslas are called the Velcro dog? So if you want a dog that stays close to you, a Vizsla is definitely something to think about. Be warned. Sometimes you can have too much love. Okay. This will be plenty warm enough for tonight. The wind's coming from this way. From behind us, it's northwest wind. We got plenty of sleeping bag warmth to keep us warm. And yeah, what do you think, Ridge? Ridge is getting hungry, so I gotta feed him. Okay, it's time for Ridge's dinner. We used to have our dogs eating a raw diet when we got them, and then it was a little bit too much work. We were having a hard time getting chicken. So, Ridge's dinner today is some chicken thighs. Ridge, you like that, buddy? Oh, good stuff, huh? Might be a little gross if you've never heard of a raw diet, but dogs love it. They're meant to eat birds. They're bird dogs, remember that. Come here. Good job. Good job. Good job. Okay, a little update of what's going on. This is the kitchen, which is basically a beer, a plate, steak, some potatoes, and some Brussels sprouts. I cheated, I actually bought it from the store. The steaks. Just warming up my fry pan. I'm actually going to cheat. I'm just going to fry it up for today. Gotta get this done. So my fry pan's heating up, and got a lot accomplished in a short period of time. This is the most extreme sort of bike packing trip I've done, and so it's just overnight. It was we did some single track to get here, so I carried my backpack and no panniers or frame packs on my bike, just to keep it simple. I wasn't bringing a whole lot, and on some of the trails it's a lot easier to bike on with a pack. The panniers, if you are biking with them and they're loaded up, I find that the torque when you stand up on your bike, because the panniers are heavy, it's really exaggerates. Your bike sways back and forth when you stand and crank on the pedals. So if you're thinking of doing a single track bike packing, you don't want to have panniers. You want to have either frame pack, which I do have. I got my Revelate pack I had off my seat post, and the handlebar pack and the backpack. But I tried just the backpack this trip, and it wasn't too bad. I didn't mind it. I wasn't going too far, so this is by no means a very far trip, but it was good to check it out in the snow. It's been good. Oh, one thing I wanted to talk about for cold trips. It's kind of funny actually. I told Joe, this is my first video since I went with Joe. I was laughing at him. I told him to make a script for every one of these videos that I make. I never use the script. I never even look at it. I totally get distracted and stuff. But anyways, one of the things I wanted to talk about, especially on a cold trip, really the only thing that's going to cause you some major problems is cold toes, that sort of thing. I got a fire going now, which is really nice. It's not too bad out here. But these things here, toe warmers, I use those for mountain biking in the wintertime and fat biking in the wintertime all the time. They chemical heat warmer or chemical toe warmer, and as soon as you open them up, they're exposed to air, and that activates the chemical reaction, whatever it is that keeps them warm. And they last up to 6 hours. So I use them deer hunting in the tree stand, mountain biking in the snow in the wintertime. And they have some adhesive. So what I do is I take them up. Actually, I'm going to put them on right now. And I put them to the top of my sock, on top of my toes. And that way it doesn't affect underneath your toes, you're crunching, and doesn't affect them walking or biking, that sort of thing. But they work great. They could save you frostbite, and they weigh nothing, right? So there's no excuse not to take them. I figured I'd show you those toe warmers, so I'll show you what they look like. So that's the case. You open them up. This is what they look like here. You peel off the adhesive. That's it. On top of the toe. So some people put them underneath their foot. I find it crunches underneath my toe and curls up. I don't like it, so I find it works for me. On top of my toe is just fine. If it was really, really cold, I guess I could put another set underneath. Anyways, there it goes. Oh, okay. Steaks on, potatoes and asparagus are good. Rolled up in a sleeping bag. It's all this work, and this is a lot of work. I hope this doesn't ever come across as being easy, like I'm trying to show that this is just a walk in the park. It's a lot of work for a short little trip. But I kind of like the challenge, it's fun. I enjoy it. Crack the beer. Cheers. I don't know if you can hear the steak sizzling. It's almost ready. And if you're still watching this, I just want to say thanks to the new subscribers that I have. Obviously, I owe Joe Robinette a big thank you. After our video together, a lot of people came over to my channel and watched the content. And a lot of you guys thought it was worthwhile to tune in. So it's much appreciated. I hope I can put out videos that you enjoy watching and keep coming back. I like making them. The last thing I really need right now is a YouTube channel. I don't do this full time. I have a full-time job. I have a family, wife, and there's a good argument to be made that the last thing I need to be doing is making a YouTube channel. But it's all fun. I like doing it, so hopefully you continue. Beer's actually freezing up. That's good. I was gonna check to see if the plate's not too hot. Not too bad. Pretty dirty though. Reg! Reg! He's wrapped up in his sleep bag already. Well, dinner's done. Reggie's under his sleeping bag already. He's pretty content. He had some of my steak. He had his chicken. So I sit by the fire a little bit. I got some more wood cut. And then once it gets dark, I got no problem crawling in the sleeping bag, getting one nice and warm and curling up. We got lots of firewood here, so we'll have a nice fire for tonight. Well, I just want to take this time to thank everybody who has subscribed to me in the last little while. I've been at my channel for about 6 months, and I almost have about 4,000 subscribers. So a big part of that is from the exposure that I got from hanging out with Joe. So I just wanted to take this time to thank him, and it really was just a fun time hanging out with him. So my channel is basically going to be camping, some fishing trips, hunting trips, bikepacking trips. I've geared it toward more of the adventure theme. Adventure meaning anything I feel up to that I could hurt myself doing or something could go wrong. But any sort of trip like that. My goal with my channel is to not only have trips that people would want to watch and be inspired to do themselves, but also quality cinematography. And I'm working on that. It's a work in progress, but that's my goal eventually, to have a very high quality video so you can sit back and enjoy that and appreciate that as well. So today we didn't do much of a distance here. It was we left after lunch on a casual pace to get here. Again, my pack is pretty heavy for bike riding. Yeah, it would have been nice to have the the canvas tent with the wood stove on this trip, but I wasn't able to carry all that. As it was, my pack was a little heavy for riding a bike. When you're riding a bike, you got to keep in mind if you're going to wear a backpack that your butt is carrying all that weight onto the seat, right? So obviously you're going to be wearing some padded shorts when you're going for a long bike ride. You should be anyways if you don't. And ideally, you don't really want to have weight on your back. It's just adding to the strain that's on your butt and on the seat, right? But this time around, I wasn't going too far. If you're going multi-day trips, bikepacking, serious bikepacking trips, obviously all the heavy weight's going to be on the frame of your bike and on the seat post or on the handlebars, that sort of thing. But this is just a trip where Ridge is a Hungarian Vizsla. He's gone on trips with me. He can easily run 20 kilometers for fun. And in the cold weather, he's not a cold weather dog, but in the cold weather, when he was running, he's fine. So the biggest challenge is keeping him warm once he stops running around. So when we got here, after he ate, he was starting to shiver a little bit. So he's wrapped up in his sleeping bag right now. He's doing good. And I'm just sitting by the fire. I can't get him to sit by the fire. He doesn't like hanging out by the fire too much. He's just not used to it, I guess. He should be, but he's just not used to it. But he's all curled up in a sleep bag now. He's got it figured out. It took me a while to get him in there, but he's got it figured out now. Kitty, stop it! Stop! 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 Come on, Ridge. Ridge.